What's your favourite Super Nintendo console box art? Is it the American one? Is it the UK one? I grew up with that one. It's nice, that. Star Wing is what we called Star Fox. My favourite is the Japanese one. It's just really simple and colourful and well designed. I really wish I made it. So I'm going to redraw it in Illustrator.
Good luck.
The first thing I did was grab a load of assets from the internet. All these logos are sourced from official places. So the logos were from the Japanese Nintendo website, as was the icon, the Super Nintendo icon. It's very difficult to find a absolutely straight on picture of the box art. So I've had to mess around and try and skew these into the right perspective a little bit. I'm just gonna use them as reference anyway. Just gonna move that one out of the way. Don't need that. So I don't know why I have that one, it's obviously worse. I've been using Illustrator for a long time, like over 10 years. Not to brag, I don't know anything though. The way that I like to work is based on like angles and stuff. So if I was designing this, I would probably make sure that this angle of the console is like 45 degrees. If I draw a quick rectangle and rotate this by 45 degrees, you can quite clearly see that whoever designed this Super Nintendo box art obviously didn't want it to be 45 degrees, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is just rotate this to about 0 degrees. It's not exactly square. The image that I'm working with isn't perfect, but it works fine for what I need to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw the outer line of the box. Just going to round the corners in. So obviously immediately this is off slightly, but it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to set a stroke width, which I'm going to sort of follow for the whole redraw. So 7 points, that's probably about accurate to the scale. I'll do the colours in a minute. It's good to have like a high contrast line so you can see. There's a bigger gap, I think, in the top than there is in the bottom. Yeah, clear. It's like half the distance. So I'm going to make sure I represent that in my one. Just going to round these corners a little bit differently so they fit. That looks good. Duplicate this one again to about there. Yeah, looks about right. Because I've scaled these are all different stroke widths now, so I'm just going to select them all and make sure they're all 7 points. The console has a really slight taper in, like it does in real life. So like the space there is greater than the space down here, which is slightly irritating because that's a lot of work, that, but never mind. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to unround these corners because it's easier to work with squares. I'm going to duplicate this. Probably about, where does it taper in? About there. So I've got two different rectangles and then this one just needs to taper in very slightly. It's not that much of a taper, but just. So then if I grab these two, shape builder them into one. Ooh. These two need to pull in a little bit more. I'm just going to cheat this in a little bit as well because I'm not happy with the distance there. I spent too long on that, I didn't need to do that, but it is what it is. Right, that's all gone wrong there, so I just need to change that back to 7. That could actually probably be cheated in a little bit more. I'm using the image as a guide, but it's more about figuring out how this would have been made. I don't even know if this was made in Illustrator. It might have been. Illustrator is a very old program. I'm gonna do these nice, easy rectangles. I feel like 7 might be too thick now. Never mind. I'll just change it later. Good. I'm gonna do these lines here. These are nice and easy. Just duplicate that. These aren't centered. I'm just going to group these as well. I'm going to group these. I'm grouping all the things that are more than one, obviously. I'm grouping them because in a minute I'm going to centralize them using the align button. I've drawn these, so I'm going to put them up there as well. I can edit it later. There's a couple of ways of doing this. You can either just do one and then eyeball it and duplicate them, but I was slightly off there, so it's gone awry. To undo all that, I make one at the beginning and one at the end. I'm just going to grab them both and make sure it's centered. Doesn't really matter actually. And then use the blend tool and click the first one and the last one. And then if you double click the settings, you can specify the amount of steps. Yeah, so 12. So there's 14 lines. So if I say 12, then it makes the perfect number. Next, I really want to make everything out of strokes if possible, rather than shapes. So I'm going to make this using a stroke, but I'm going to round the stroke on this, just round the caps of that, so you can change the cap to a rounded one. Good. This shape is a bit interesting because it's not just a rectangle, it's a little bit like the main body in that it's awkward. So I'm going to get the rough size down, but then there's a slight notch at the bottom. You know, I really shouldn't be using black. Let me just make them a different colour so that I can see. Do something absolutely rancid, like horrible green. Alright, so I'm just going to pull that down a little bit. And I'm going to round the corners. It needs to be a bit thinner. And then I'm going to round that one even more. I'm going to do it all the way. No. That's probably right. Let's have a look. Oh, these corners need rounding more. And these do. That looks good. I'm happy with that. I said I was going to make everything strokes, but that triangle needs to be a shape. It's just too awkward to start messing around with strokes for that particular one. I'm going to round the corners slightly just so it's less sharp. Right, now that is the main console roughly redrawn. Don't like that there. That just needs to be slightly bigger. Yeah, so if I just select everything and click this, which is horizontal align, there's just a couple of little bits I want to clean up here. I don't like those. These should be absolutely on the line. Let's make them the right colours. Good. Oh, first I'm going to make sure these controller ports are in there as well. So just pop that back over. So I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one there as well. Right, good. I am not happy with the gap there. I'm just going to pull that out a little bit. Didn't grab the anchor points. Right, that's really good. I'm very happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is draw the control. That's nice and easy. So the best way to think about vector art is everything's just made of shapes, which I suppose is the same for drawing in general, but with Illustrator it's really apparent. So the control is made of two circles and a rectangle, basically. So I just grab that. Again, I'm going to make it a horrible different colour so I can see it. Up there, move that over there, and then right on the top, get rid of that. Yeah, again, I'm going to make the buttons and the D-pad shapes. I suppose I could make them strokes, but it's just easier. I find the buttons unsettling. I feel like they should be like that, you know, perfectly aligned, but they actually aren't in the graphics, so I'll just follow that. See, that's not 45 degrees, which is another upsetting point. Oh, there's some circles as well. Grab that. It's going to round those corners a tiny bit, just for fun. Now I can add this this rectangle back in. So I'm going to select the shape of the control and just use the shape builder because it's easy just to select them all. And that's that. Oh, I've made a mistake there. It's not aligned. How did this happen? Just delete that. Start again. That's better. Shape builder them into one. And also, I don't necessarily know if this is rounded, but I don't. I'm just going to soften that up a little bit. Just need to recolor it. The gap there is not right. Just going to pull that down, and then that isn't centered. I've messed with that a lot. I'm just going to make sure it's all still 7 pixels, 7 points wide. Recolor it to the right colors. Nice. Group that, make another one, and I can make that the other color now. This is pretty easy because the buttons are already done. But these are different, why? I feel like this is going to be easy to do, but I don't like the look of this. I can figure it out, but it doesn't follow the sort of steps that I would take to make it like that. But then again, what do I know? I might do a couple of versions. So for the first version, I'm going to accurately copy those angles, and then I might do some which are more interpretive, maybe. Right, group that again. I like to make weird save points when I'm working, so I'll like copy that over there for no reason. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to rotate this to roughly the right angle. I think they're the same angle. Yeah, there we go. I've made a grave error. I'm going to make this again. Right, rotate that. I'm going to make this. I think this is made like this. Good. And then, so, the angle, the width on that one is bigger than the width on that one, which is upsetting. So I can do this, I just need to undo when I joined it. Put that there, and then just line this up. That's about right. Do you know, and I'm not convinced that they aren't the same exact size. Yeah, that one's definitely smaller. That is about right. Move that out of the way. Just join these two. Make sure these are the same size. Right, so that's that. And then I'm going to connect these. I'm happy with that. Now for the stupid one. Right, again, I'm gonna make a little save point where I'm gonna put that over there at 0 degrees, and I'm gonna rotate that back to roughly straight. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. This version is like as accurate as possible, within reason. So this wire is problematic because at first glance it looks slightly freehand. It doesn't look like it follows as many rules as the other one. So this bit's pretty simple. This is obviously a circle. So it follows about that. Just gonna add a point there and delete that. I'm gonna go straight down from here and then rotate it again and make this a colour so I can see it. So that is pretty good, pretty good. But this angle needs to get to there, and in my head it needs to do it in a really nice, perfect curve. The curve here is more shallow than it is here. This is more extreme. So it's not going to be a case of using a circle to track that. Oops. as you can see, like, I'm gonna mess around with this a little bit. There's a skew in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cheat this. I don't like this. Oh, I don't like it. Ugh. This is accurately following the line, but I don't like the way I'm doing it. It's giving me, it's upsetting me quite a lot. Ugh. That is pretty good. I don't like it. In terms of the like accuracy to the original graphic, it's pretty good as far as I'm concerned. I probably would have that coming out straight from there. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to move on because I can't do that forever. So I'm going to move this over here. I really like this graphic, obviously, but one thing I don't like is the gap here. I don't like the gaps between the wire and the control, but I'm going to keep it for accuracy. So the way I'm going to do that, and because I want to keep it all strokes, is I'm going to grab the outline of that control, and then I could scale it, but because it's not a square or a circle, it scales weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the width of the stroke so that it bites into the wire, but does it in a way that's uniform. So obviously if you sort of scale the stroke, it scales the outer diameter uniformly to the shape, if that makes sense. Like if you do it that way, it's not right. The shape here, the space here is bigger than here. Anyway, I feel like I've over-explained that, but it's fairly clear when you scroll up and down like that. So I can see here, there's a little bit of it's maybe 2 pixels, 3 pixels, doesn't matter. I'm gonna eyeball it anyway, so it's about that. So I'm gonna go to expand, and now I have a shape. I'm gonna delete the inner part. I'm gonna make this red and this one red. I'm gonna use a clipping mask to hide those tiny little areas. So the way I'm gonna do that is I've got that there. I'm gonna draw a shape around the wire. I'm just gonna make that an outline so I can see. And I'm gonna grab that and that. I'm just gonna shape build that or path find. They both do the same thing. So now I have the area in which I want that wire to be visible, which obviously is cutting out that area there with a nice little expansion gap. So I'm going to grab these two and group them. They need to be the right colour as well. And then if I grab this, and then I can put them in a clipping mask. They have a uniform cutout, but they're still strokes, so I can still edit them. I have made a little error there, but what I can do there is just add some anchor points there to bring that in. And I'm just going to put that behind so I don't have to worry about that blue control. Good. In terms of accurately redrawing it, I'm happy with that. I'm going to pull this over. Again, weird little save point. Grab this, put it over there. The background that's okay. There's a grey. I don't know where I got this grey from, but you know that it's a pretty nice grey. It's maybe not accurate to the box, but or using strokes apart from like the buttons and the little triangle there, which is what I wanted. This is a bit of a messy shape, but you can make that shape whatever you want. It really does make a difference. Obviously with it being vector, you can do all sorts of nonsense to it. Yeah, so I mentioned I grabbed the Super Nintendo logo from the official Japanese website, but as I was looking at it, something felt off, and I don't know if this is official. Like maybe that's the way it was designed, or maybe someone who was looking after the Japanese website just decided to upload this thinking it was official or something. But it's really weird the way this is made. Like it's not uniform, which is really strange. So for example, like if I grab that shape and make it red and rotate it, you can see that it's not like a perfect ellipse, and the two sort of Pac-Man kind of shapes they've got this weird hump in them, and that drives me mad. So I'm going to redraw these just for fun really quickly, because it's fairly straightforward. So I'm just going to go straight in the centre, a nice little ellipse, and then for this, roughly in the middle, perfect circle, and then use that exact same shape to take a bite out of that. Good. So like, you can already see the difference there. Yeah, I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be designed, but whilst I'm redrawing things, I might as well. Why not? I'm gonna duplicate those, put them over there. So I don't know, maybe it's not 100% accurate, maybe there's a reason that they're supposed to be like that, but yeah, this is the version I've made. Just fix the Super Nintendo logo for you. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about recreating the entirety of the box. I mainly just wanted the graphic done. I could spend some time making sure that it's all sorted. Obviously, never use the hex code 6 zeros. I like to use 23, 23, 23. As you can see, that's obviously nicer. It's easier to type as well. Watch. So yeah, that's my version. I could mess around with the box, but I'm basically happy with it. So that's my final version for that one. The American Super Nintendo is visually very different. So I thought it'd be nice to redraw this in the style of the Japanese Famicom box art. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now this is so much easier. This is literally a box. I'm gonna use the same stroke width of 7. Oh, it's so much of a box. But there's another little box on top which bulges out slightly, but if I just duplicate that, put it over the top, you can bulge, but then you choose horizontal. Nope, it's only very slight. That'll do. Expand that, merge that across there. That's looking good. I'm just going to move this bad boy out of the way. See, it's only very slight, but it looks good. And then it's so much easier, this one, it's just boxes. So there's some curved lines here, and I've already drawn those on the outside, so I'm just going to scale them in. And that is nice. I'm going to use that. I'm going to draw the box in the centre here. I'm going to use the shape builder again. That's all neat and tidy. And group that. Because I've grouped that, when I centralise it in a sec, it'll be perfect. These extend very slightly out as well, but maybe not that much. I'm going to draw this once on the left and then duplicate it over to the right, because I don't need to do that twice. And then there's a nice pill shape in the middle. In order for that pill to be sort of readable, it needs to be not too close. Do you know what? It is easier to draw, but there's a lot more rectangles. There's more rectangles. Put that there. Put that there. I don't need to overcomplicate it. No! Nice. Right, I think that's good. I think that's all the information you need. Based on how that one looks, I feel like you wouldn't need to represent the on-off switch, or maybe we do. Maybe we do for a bit of colour. So I can move this out of the way now, actually. And now I just need to use the shape builder again to just make all these shapes nice. The whole point of the colour palette for the, oh, these need rounding. although obviously the American console is sharper than the Japanese and the UK one, I'm still going to add a little bit of a rounded corner just so it has the same sort of visual language as this one. So the colour palette I grabbed here, I sort of guessed this really. Choose that as the base. I don't know who that dog is. 1 minute. Dog barking out there. I'm gonna make this the same size as the other one I just drew, because I've realised that I've not thought about the way that these dots will scale again, so these then need to be smaller. Oh, there's 2, get rid of that. God, there's like 3. This is because I did the shape builder. So this is fun because the colours are different. So that's obviously going to be purple. Have I got loads of this? Yeah, so I've made a bit of an error here. I've got too much going on, so I'm just going to get rid of some of the nonsense. It's good. It's a good tool, the shape builder, but the way that I've used it is I've used it quite irresponsibly, which has caused some issues here, which I'm not happy with, but I can just clean that up. Get rid of that. Ah! There needs to be not handles on that. Yeah, I've made this in a much worse way, but I really just want simple strokes. I don't want multiple strokes over everything. That's fine, that's good, I'm happy with that. These need to be centered. Oh! Ooh. God, that's revolting. I've spent quite a lot of time messing around there because I just want there to be some variation with the way that button's made. I think maybe it should be flipped. A really quick way to flip these 2 colours is to select everything, go to colours, and then just flip the colours in there. That's good. It's quite light, but I don't know. I feel like the American box art might be really dark. Like that, maybe. So these 2 colours are the lighter purple. These are obviously the darker purple. Oof, that's nice. What's that? I'm just going to add a few more rounded corners, just so it's slightly less sharp. That did nothing. Ooh, that one needs one. I'm pretty happy with that. So, how would the American box art look compared to the Japanese one? Let's have a look. So I reckon it's probably going to be the opposite way. Oh, so the control ports are going to go in here. I'm going to make the American one super rigid, and that one's going to be 45 degrees. So, just copy that over there. These are definitely not right. I'm just going to grab. Oh, one thing I've not done is center. Oh yeah, I did center it, I think. Yeah, because I'm sort of making this up, I can do whatever shape I like. So before, when I was complaining about how the controls are laid out, it's really difficult to get them laid out visually in a visually interesting way that isn't bad. Right, let's go with that. Don't look at that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Just making a mess, really. Oh. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I'll have a look at this and fix it. So I've spent a few hours now fixing errors and messing around with little bits. I think I made a lot of errors because I was trying to concentrate on talking rather than actually working. What did I do? I made the buttons the right colours. That's wrong. How did this happen? Is this whole thing flipped? Yeah, that's not right, is it? Literally spotting an error right now. But anyway, it's a good illustration of what I fixed. I'm just flipping that horizontally. It previously was not centered. The power button, eject button and reset button were not centrally aligned, which was a disaster. So I need to fix that. Just a very quick review of Illustrator 2025. It's really full of bugs. This artwork exists, but you just got to sort of nudge it and it reappears. So there's my quick review. Also, massive error. Every single one of the sets of buttons was very slightly up and left. So I went through and changed all of those to be centered. Every one of them. There's only a few. This is the final version for the American one that I came up with. The only thing I changed apart from centralizing all the sets of buttons was the pill shapes in here. Let me make that a colour. Go with red. The gap here is so small and there's just nothing else in that design that has that sort of spacing. So I decided they're going to be solids. I didn't have many shapes in that design anyway, so just a bit of variation. So here is my final redraws for both of these. Well, one's a redraw. So the Super Famicom, I just really tried to make it as accurate as possible. It's not obviously pixel perfect. There is going to be variations in it, but I'm happy with that. It looks really good. And then for the American one, I originally said I was going to do it like 45 degrees. I decided to do it with no rotation and then just have the game pads at a nice 45-degree angle. I don't know what possessed me to put little gaps in the controller wire. It just felt right. The Japanese box has this lovely Super Nintendo logo, and then the counterpart for the American one is this one that's made of lines and circles, so I made that really quickly just to put in that's vector. Ooh. Yeah, so that's the two boxes. I think it's a really good exercise to redraw something that already exists and try and make it as accurate as possible. It's like sophisticated tracing. It's tracing with the intent to understand how something was put together. I think it's one of the best ways to learn. Seeing as how I spent so long drawing these two graphics, I also put together a few wallpapers that you can download if you want. They're all 4K. I've done desktop and mobile. Feel free to download them if you want. Doesn't matter if you don't. I won't be offended if you don't download them. Don't sell them either. You can't sell them or use them for anything commercial, and unless you're Nintendo. And in that case, you can hire me if you want. I'll draw something for you. So that's it. That's about it now. I think I might have to stop there because that's a lot of nonsense, that.